Have you ever received an inheritance from your relatives? Real estate and jewelry are the most valuable these days, and everything else is usually considered junk and thrown away first. What valuable things can an elderly woman have? An elderly woman who lived modestly and did not save a lot of things. Today, we will tell you one incredible story that happened to a man named Lauren Kreitzer. After the death of his grandmother, his mother and sister for some reason forgot to share the inheritance with Lauren. They shamelessly took the most valuable things in her house for themselves without even informing Lauren about the death of the person dear to him. When Lauren finally found out what had happened, the first thing he did was to call his mother and see if he could pick up a few things as a keepsake. His mother did not talk to him, only answered that there was nothing of value in the house. Although Lauren knew perfectly well that his grandmother had valuable things, he did not argue with his mother. Since they decided not to leave him anything, he left it alone. He went to his grandmother's house to pick up some of the books that they had read during her lifetime. Lauren decided that this would be the best memory of the person dear to him. He sorted out the remains of things that were lying on the floor after the revision of his mother with his sister. They did not even think to clean up after themselves. Then his eyes stopped on an old suitcase which was under the bed. He opened it and saw 2 old Hudson's Bay Navajo blankets. Memories immediately painted a clear picture of his childhood. Here, little Lauren stayed for the night at his grandmother's house. She carefully took out one of these blankets and covered her grandson with it. How warm and cozy it was at Grandma's. She kissed him before going to bed and read one of the books from her library. Lauren fell asleep to the calm voice of his beloved grandmother, and there was nothing more beautiful than this. Then Lauren grew up and stopped spending the night at his grandmother's place. But she got a cat. When the cats had kittens, the grandmother spread this blanket for them so that they could keep warm. Lauren looked at the kittens floundering in those blankets and remembered how he loved to wrap himself in it. The man took the blanket out of the suitcase. It even seemed to him that it still had the smell of his childhood, his grandmother's hands, and those kittens. It had obviously not been washed for a long time, if at all. Apparently, his sister and mother did not see much value in this old thing, so they left it there. But Lauren decided to take it for himself in order to keep this warmth from his grandmother for many years to come. Other than the blankets and books, there was nothing left to take in the house. His mother and sister took absolutely everything else. With this, Lauren left his grandmother's house, never to return again. The next 7 years were very difficult for him. In 2007, he had a big accident where he had badly injured his leg. Doctors tried in vain to restore it, but infection began and the leg had to be amputated. It was hard to imagine what poor Lauren went through. He applied several times for disability, but for unknown reasons, he was constantly denied. There was a catastrophic lack of money in the family. Lauren's wife worked 2 jobs to make ends meet. His mother and sister offered no help. They just cut Lauren out of their lives. His children had to be sent to Louisiana to live with their maternal grandparents, as Lauren and his wife could not feed them. When finally Lauren managed to get disability, the family was able to recover. They took the children from his wife's parents and moved to a cheap rental for $700 a month, which left only $200 from his disability benefits, plus the money that his wife earned. So several more years passed. The year 2011 came. One evening, Lauren was flipping through the channels on local television until he stumbled upon a program about antiques. He might have scrolled further if his gaze had not fallen on the object that was being shown. Lauren saw a blanket on the TV screen, a blanket very similar to the one from the suitcase from his grandmother's house. He turned up the volume. The value of this blanket made by the Navajo Indians was revealed to be $500,000. Lauren couldn't believe what he heard. He rushed to look through his unpacked boxes. After searching, he managed to find the old suitcase and opened it with trembling hands. The familiar smell immediately enveloped Lauren. He pulled out the covers and rushed back to the TV. There, they analyzed in detail the threads and stitches with which the blanket was sewn. Lauren began to compare them. In his opinion, they all coincided. So he found an antique shop near John Moore & Shareholders. He learned that on the door's open day, everyone could bring their things for sale at the auction. Lauren decided not to miss his chance and brought the blanket for examination. An additional plus, confirming the authenticity of the origin of this blanket, were the photographs that Lauren had the foresight to take with him. The photographs showed his great-great-grandfather, John Chetland, in the Marvel settlement in North Dakota, proving once again that the quilt could very well be genuine. It was sent for examination, and Lauren was told to return on the day of the auction. On the appointed day, Lauren went to the auction. He hoped to get at least a few thousand to repair his old pickup, but things did not go according to his plan that day. The bids for Lauren's blanket grew before his eyes. Buyers literally fought over this old blanket. When the sums exceeded $100,000, Lauren became visibly nervous. He did not expect such a turn of events. He was already mentally spending this money, but it did not end there. People kept shouting out bigger and bigger sums. The lot had already crossed the 1 million mark. Lauren just could not believe his ears. Was this really happening to him? The final sum was $1.5 million for the blanket that had been gathering dust in his closet for so many years. Lauren was in shock. He could not, even in his wildest dreams, imagine this moment. After deducting all organizational fees, Lauren had $1,300,000 in his hands. Lauren had not yet managed to get home as his phone began to ring nonstop. The first call was his mother, who demanded to share the winnings with her. How she found out about this auction so quickly, he had no idea. Then his sister called and also demanded to give her part of the proceeds. And within a week, all the relatives, even the most distant ones, called him, and everyone was interested in how he was doing. It was a little strange that everyone immediately remembered the existence of Lauren, although before that, for many years, there had been no communication from them. Lauren could not stand such an influx of people in his life and secluded himself in a hotel room for 5 days alone and even turned off his phone. He was tired of hearing that he was being selfish or hearing his relatives try to make him feel sorry for them. Some even threatened him. He needed to think carefully about the new situation that had developed and make many important decisions. But being alone with himself, Lauren was able to make those decisions, after which he forever lost touch with his mother, sister, and other greedy relatives. First of all, he fulfilled the dream of his youth and bought himself a powerful Harley motorcycle, as well as a Dodge and an SUV. He bought 2 houses, he moved into one of them with his family, and they began to rent out the second one. Then he went on a vacation with his family where they did not deny themselves anything. He invested the remainder in stocks and bonds. Many people will think that big money can easily turn the head of an unprepared person and the person will waste everything, but not Lauren. He wisely disposed of the wealth that suddenly fell on him, investing money in real estate and securities. Since then, he has been doing great, and he only increased his wealth. Friends, what do you think? Did Lauren do the right thing by not sharing the money with his relatives? Share your opinion in the comments.